Peace be with you. My name is Allan Keislar. Welcome to the Institute of All Intelligent Life. This is the first class of our new course in the winter interterm 2018, World Peace Without Armageddon. So we are just happy to be able to start this new term again. We have had classes in the past about extraterrestrial spirituality, about fundamentals of law, about cosmology and universal history. So this is a very important topic, especially at this time. And I'm very fascinated by the fact that I arranged this class, I organized it, I started planning it, and I announced it before the events of the last couple of weeks, which are very, very significant in terms of what we are talking about in this class. So, first of all, a little bit of introduction about what this course is all about. What does it mean, world peace without Armageddon? What this means is that we will find world peace. We will find world peace being established, but without a major nuclear war, atomic war, as many people have been thinking would happen, based upon prophecies. So there are many prophecies in different traditions, different religious traditions have similar prophecies. Many of them, practically most of them that I'm familiar with, have a similar idea that one day there will be world peace established. One day war will be ended and the whole world will live in peace. But before that, most traditions seem to agree, there will be a huge worldwide conflict in which huge armies will clash and many, many people, half or more of the world's population, will be killed. So what this course is all about is announcing, as I've done before, but we're going to go into much more detail now in this course, that we will have world peace, and it will not be that far away, God willing, but it will be without that big international nuclear war, which many people expect, and which is called Armageddon, based on one verse in the Bible, in the book of Revelation, chapter 16, verse 16, which talks about this place. Whether it's a physical place or a symbolic place, different people have different ideas, but it mentions this place by the name of Armageddon, which is often identified with the hill or the plain of Megiddo, which is in Israel, south of Haifa today, south of the Sea of Galilee. So whether that will actually be the place where some sort of battle takes place, as many people have said, or whether it is just a symbolic reference to a huge international battle, I don't know. But what I do know, and I'm going to explain why I say I know rather than just I believe or I think, I am totally convinced that this era of world peace, which is at hand, will be fulfilled without that big Armageddon, without that big international Holocaust or war in which half or more of the population will be killed. So how can I say with such confidence that this will not happen? Of course, I can always say for sure that God can always change everything, anything. So I can't say 100% for sure, but I will tell you why I feel sure of this idea that we will have world peace without Armageddon. Some of you know that since the age of 9, I have met with extraterrestrials people, our brothers and sisters from other planets or from outer space. And I won't talk about those other incidents right now, but I will talk about one which happened in 1998. It was, I can't remember the exact date, but it was the very last week or last few days of October or the first few days of November in the year 1998. And what happened that time is I was taken off this planet. I was transported to some place out in the solar system. It was definitely within the solar system, and I don't know exactly where it was, but it was somewhere out, I think, beyond the asteroid belt, either near Jupiter or Saturn. Somewhere in that part of the solar system, we came to a large stadium-like place. It was either a large asteroid or moon of Jupiter or Saturn, or it could have been an artificially constructed stadium. I'm not sure. But in any case, when we arrived there, there was a large meeting going on. There were hundreds or thousands of spectators in this stadium, and in the middle of the stadium there was a table, an oblong table, around which were sitting a number of people. I can't remember the exact number, but some dozens of people, and they were from different species. They were different forms of intelligent life. A number of them looked very human, just exactly like we look, and others were somewhat different, but all of them were humanoid. All of them had a head with 2 eyes, 2 ears, and 2 arms and 2 legs. But they were obviously from different civilizations, from different species, from different planets, and they were having a meeting to discuss a very important topic, and that was about our planet, Earth, and whether they should prevent a world war. In the course of the discussion, I heard that they had previously prevented world wars, at least 1 or 2. One in 1984 was a definite date at which they had prevented a world war from happening. And I think there were some earlier ones also, maybe in the 1970s or 1960s. But in any case, at least once or maybe twice before, or maybe more times, they had prevented a nuclear war from taking place on Earth. And now they were discussing whether they should do that again, because it was clear that they were all aware that the World War was going to start the next year, in 1999. And I believe the month was July. It was definitely June or July, the beginning of summer of 1999, a world war was expected. You can say it was destined. That was prophesied also. The great seer Nostradamus specifically mentioned July, or the 7th month of 1999, as a date when I believe it was the King of Terror would come from the sky or would attack. So it was a reference evidently to a large war on that exact time frame of July or so of 1999. So these people, who were obviously representatives of different civilizations, different species, different planets, they were discussing whether they should prevent an international nuclear conflict again. And there were 2 quite clear positions. One group were saying that we have prevented this war from happening several times, and because of that, the establishment of world peace has been postponed. In other words, they also had this idea that world peace would be established, but only after a great world war. And some of them were arguing that now we should not prevent this war from happening again, because that will only postpone the establishment of world peace even longer. And interestingly, they seemed to be in the majority, or at least they were the ones who were arguing much more forcefully. But others took a different position, namely that no, we should prevent this war from happening again, because it will be so destructive and so horrible, so much suffering will be caused, we should try to avoid that, or we should avoid that. We should prevent this war once again from happening. And their argument was that world peace will come, it will be established, and God willing, there will be no need for such a war that everyone had been expecting for so long. So this argument was becoming more heated, and several people from each side were making arguments. And then it became apparent to me that those who were arguing in favor of the war, allowing the war to happen, were gaining the upper hand. More people were seeming to be convinced by their arguments. And I guess, I don't know if there was going to be a vote about it, or if they were just going to try to come to an agreement about what they would do. But in any case, the argument was becoming more and more intense, and everyone was becoming more and more emotionally involved. And then suddenly, something happened. Everyone was silent. Everyone stopped speaking. And I was a little surprised. What is happening here? I didn't realize what had happened. And then I turned around, and behind me, I saw a personality floating down into the stadium. And everyone immediately knew that this person is a representative of a higher authority, and that this person is going to announce what the decision is. In other words, it's been taken out of our hands, and this person is going to tell us the decision that has been made. So what was very interesting to me to observe was that some of the representatives there were very, very happy, many. In fact, most of them either stood up and bowed their heads, or, acknowledged the superiority of this representative of higher authority, and they were pleased that we will now have a better decision than we might have made. But what was fascinating to me was to see that some of these people, some of these representatives, were upset. They were not happy that this decision that they were about to reach would not be made by them now, but they would have to accept whatever decision had been made on a higher level. So some of them were evidently a little disturbed by this development. But anyway, everyone understood that this decision is now out of our hands, and we will just have to accept whatever this person advises us or lets us know, informs us, is the decision. And that personality, who I believe, I may be wrong, but I believe every individual in that stadium saw that person according to their own understanding of what would be the representative of God, or what would be the representative of a higher authority. In any case, that individual, and all this speaking, I believe, was being done telepathically, because everybody was understanding it in their own language, definitely. And I was understanding the discussion in English. And this person simply raised his hand and said, "Mercy." So that one word was sufficient, and everybody understood that the war will not happen. the war will be prevented again. So, this is why I am confident that this Armageddon, this great international conflict, which for centuries and maybe millennia has been expected and foretold, that it actually will not happen. And it has been explained to me that the reason is because, well, there are many reasons, but one of the main reasons is because people on earth have been praying, meditating, and working towards peace. And their sincerity, or I should say, if I can claim to be among them, our sincerity, our genuine desire that peace should be established and we should avoid the horrible suffering of this great Armageddon or this great world conflict, that has been sufficient. The sincerity, the purity, the intensity of the desire and the prayers and the efforts of so many different people from all over the world, from all different cultures, from all different religions, from all different races, all over the world, people have been praying like this and have been working towards peace and have been meditating on peace, and that has been sufficient to avoid that world war. That has been sufficient to prevent it from happening. That has been sufficient to bring about a state in which world peace can be established without any need for that global nuclear conflict. All right, so that's in a nutshell what this course will be about, which will continue. I've scheduled it for 7 weeks. This is the winter interterm of the Institute of All Intelligent Life. So we will explore this question in great detail as we continue with this class, this course. But that's the essence of what this course is about. And that's the reason why I am so confident that we will have world peace without Armageddon. All right, I'm just going to see if there are any good questions or comments that we may try to answer. Okay, Salma Malik, PK, I assume that means Pakistan, says, "It's very nice to promote peace among the nations. What would you say how we involve women in peacemaking?" Well, I personally have no doubt, for several reasons. One reason is that person who, the first extraterrestrial that I met when I was 9 years old and who I've met on other occasions, is a woman. And she is the one who took me to this meeting that I described. So I'm sure, and there were a number of women there in that assembly, in that they were representatives of their cultures. So I'm sure for that reason also women will play a prominent part in establishing world peace. But quite apart from that, to me it's very, very clear that women will actually lead this establishment of world peace, because it's just the nature of women. Women are by nature more tender-hearted, more kind and merciful than men. Men have a tendency to be egoistic and aggressive and to fight. So definitely women are going to play a very, very prominent part in the establishment of world peace. So thank you for your good question. Sharjeel Abbas, hi sir, after a long time, see you here. Yes, I completed the last class in the early part of December, and I announced then that we would be taking our break, our vacation, and we would be starting in the beginning of January. So it's been about a month since we completed the last class almost. All right. Can I have your email, sir, please? I have posted it before, and I will post it again here. Anyone who wants to send me an email, if you have any particular topic especially that you would like us to discuss in this class, you can send it to my email at my website, allintelligentlife.com. You can go there, www.allintelligentlife.com, and you can make a comment there, or you can send the email to Keislar, Keislar, at allintelligentlife.com. I hope I have that right. I'm going to check that, and I'll post it here in the description of this video, this chat. Okay. Hayadar says, can anyone... Oh, yes, I will, so I've already done that. It's a very important message from divine dreams from Allah. All right, I'll be very happy to hear what message you have and see how it fits in with what I've been talking about. Hopefully it's related to this topic. Salma Malik PK, nice to hear about this strange people. Surprised to hear about it. Amazing. This is not strange, actually. It's strange to those of us who have not heard about it, but it's very common knowledge all over the galaxy, all over the universe, that there are many different races, many different species of intelligent life everywhere. And it's only strange to us because we have been cut off from that information and from contact with them. But it's very common knowledge everywhere that most, especially, I don't know about elsewhere, but in our galaxy it seems quite universal that different forms of intelligent life, for the most part, have 2 arms, 2 legs, a head with 2 eyes, and a mouth, and sometimes a less obvious nose and ears than we have, but the same basic senses as we have is somehow standard in our galaxy. Muhammad Bilal Akil, they are angels, question mark. This is a very good question, and I have meditated and thought about this a lot, and as far as I can understand, yes, some of these extraterrestrial beings are what we would call angels, because angels are extraterrestrials. Angels generally, it's understood, are not from this planet, so that means by definition they are extraterrestrials. But there are many different categories of angels, many different levels, you could say, in the hierarchy of angels. So these personalities who were having this meeting that I was brought to were not the highest level, or what we call archangels. They were a lower level of beings who had some authority, like angels have authority. They obviously had some authority, and they had some power to be able to do things like preventing a nuclear war on Earth. So you may call them angels if you want. Yes. Hayabar says, no doubt Allah is creator. Yes, Allah is the supreme source of everything, the ultimate creator of everything. Rabbul Alameen, the Lord of all worlds. So yes, there are many, many worlds and many, many species of life. Muhammad Bilal Akil, and Indo-Pak in Kargil War in 1999. Yes, that Kargil War in 1999 between India and Pakistan was to be the beginning of the Third World War, or Fourth World War, or Fifth World War, whatever, but the final war that had been prophesied. But by the mercy of God, or by the grace of many, many people all over the world, good people who had been praying and working for peace, that war did not expand beyond Kargil, between that conflict between India and Pakistan. It did not become a nuclear war, but it easily could have. In fact, I remember seeing some news magazines which said that that was the closest the world ever came to a world war, and a nuclear war, that Kargil war, but it didn't happen. So for me, that's sufficient proof that the Armageddon as an international conflict has been avoided, and we will get world peace without it having to go through it. All right, Asif says, hello sir, nice to see you after a bit long as I was away from Facebook. Okay. Misbah Hussein says, the world war will not be happened, right? Yes, that is my understanding. And that's what this course is about. That the world war, which certainly was expected by everybody for centuries and millennia, that expected, destined, prophesied world conflict will not happen. That is my understanding. Misbah Hussein, we are nuclear power, but we are not using this power, but just having it for our defense. Yes, there are a number of nuclear powers in the world, and one of them, North Korea, has been saber-rattling, has been threatening they will use their nuclear weapons, but I think we will see very, very soon that they won't be able to do that. That will not happen. All right. Asad Asif says, Misbah, because it's we who don't want to start World War III. That's why we are not using our power. Yes, good people all over the world do not want to start World War III. They're trying to avoid it and prevent it. Misbah was saying, we Pakistani have strong faith in peace and humanity. Yes, that is very, very true. I know that. I have spent a lot of time in Pakistan, the first 18 years of my life, from 1947 to 1965. I was a resident of Pakistan, and since then I have been to Pakistan many times, and I can confirm from my own experience what you are saying, that the Pakistani people, for the most part, have a very strong faith and desire for peace, and great faith in humanity, and faith in God, and a very, very deep culture, which is really towards love and peace. Very opposite to what many people think about Islam. Of course, Pakistan is an Islamic state, and its real nature, the real nature of Pakistan, is a peaceful and loving society. And a lot of propaganda has been done against Pakistan and against Islam, depicting it as a terrorist state. It is not. The enemies of Pakistan are creating these terrorist acts. The Pakistani people, the Pakistani military, the Pakistani government has been very corrupt for a long time and under the influence of foreign powers. So we can't say too much about the government at this point. They may not be so positive as the people of Pakistan, and increasingly I've seen the military of Pakistan also, although wanting to remain strong and prepared, they do not really want war. So it is a false idea that people, including President Trump, I'm sad to say, seems to have gotten the wrong idea about Islam as a terrorist force in Pakistan, perhaps. No doubt there are people who are considered Muslims, who may call themselves Muslims. There are people who may be associated in some way with Pakistan, who are engaged in terrorism. But those people are in a tiny minority, and they don't really represent Pakistan at all. So I agree completely with your statement, Misbah Hussein ji, that Pakistani people are very peaceful by nature, and these terrorist acts that are being performed in Pakistan are against the nation. They're against the people. They are against the military of Pakistan. The Pakistani people and military do not support them. There are other forces that are promoting that, but not Pakistan or the people of Pakistan. So thank you very, very much for that comment. I appreciate that. So Misbah was saying, wow, mercy, war will not be happened. Yes, that is my understanding. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In Islam, that is the primary characteristic you can say of God, is the merciful and the compassionate. So Of course, when God allows war, that is also mercy. But in this case, it was clear that mercy means that war will be prevented. Asad Asif says, Sir, being a Muslim, we do believe there will be a war before the end of the world. We do believe there will be Ghazwa-e Hind sooner or later. Yes, I'm aware of that. And I really am not sure, but I believe that that war that was prevented, the World War III, as I've called it, in 1999, that was Ghazwa-e Hind. It was definitely starting between India and Pakistan. So it would have been a horrible conflict with a lot of suffering. But I believe that Ghazwa-e Hind will be a spiritual war now. It will not be a war with bombs and weapons. It will be a psychological war, or a propaganda war, you might say. It's going on right now. It will be a war in which the enemies of Pakistan will attack Pakistan and accuse Pakistan of being a terrorist state. But the people of Pakistan, the intelligent leaders of Pakistan, will counteract that false propaganda and will establish peace and love, truthfulness and justice within Pakistan. And at the same time, it will be established all over the world, largely under the guidance and influence of those real Pakistanis. Pakistan means the land of the pure. Pakistani means a person who is pure. So those pure-hearted Pakistanis will play a very important role in the establishment of world peace and the prevention of World War III, or the change of Ghazwa-e Hind and the World War from a hot conflict, a nuclear war, to a spiritual war. That is my understanding. Muhammad Bilal Akil says, and the end of the world, and it's called Qiyamah. Yes. Qiyamah, or the Day of Judgment, is not the end of the world. It is the end of the age. It is the end of the old age, the age of war, the age of conflict. And Qiyamah also means the establishment of world peace. So that time, that day it's sometimes called, but it's not the 24-hour day, but that period of Qiyamah, Day of Judgment, my understanding is it's happening right now. We're in the middle of it. It's going on right now. Muhammad Bilal Akil goes on, then after this we will live in peace. Yes. And whether that Qiyamah will entail a great international war, nuclear conflict or not, that is what we're discussing. And I'm saying, even though it was expected, prophesied, and even planned by some people, it's not going to happen, God willing. Muhammad Bilal Akil, the world, dunya, is just a dream. I agree with you in one sense, yes. It's a very real dream. To us it's very real. But from a higher perspective, I agree, yes. It's just a temporary experience that we are undergoing. And in a very real sense, it's like a dream, yes, because it's not ultimately real. It's not eternal. Lynn Pereira says, I missed the first part, which must have located your visitation, but the end is great. Merci. Yes, in the first part, I just was introducing this course, which is called World Peace Without Armageddon, which is beginning today and will continue every Monday and Wednesday for 7 weeks at this same time, 6 p.m. until perhaps about 7 p.m. All right. Let's see if there are any other. Muhammad Bilal Akil says, humans' worst invention is nuclear weapons. It's very, very bad invention. And extraterrestrials tried very hard, actually, to to stop human beings from creating nuclear weapons in the first place. In fact, although this is not so well known, but many people know about this incident, President Eisenhower of the United States met extraterrestrials in the early 1950s. Well, I think he became president in 1953, perhaps. So it was soon after he became president that he met two groups of extraterrestrials. And the first one was what we might call angelic extraterrestrials, very good extraterrestrials, who warned him and warned the American military that these nuclear weapons are very dangerous, very damaging, I think far more so than we realize now. It affects other dimensions and other areas of existence that we may not even be aware of. So they tried very sincerely to stop the Americans from developing those nuclear weapons in the first place. But the Americans did not agree. I don't know if it was Eisenhower's decision. Ultimately, I guess it may have been, but his military generals, they were afraid, actually, that maybe these people are trying to stop us from developing these weapons because we'll be able to prevent them from taking over our planet or something. I don't know exactly what their reasoning was. But yes, nuclear weapons are a horrible, worst invention. And unfortunately, the Americans refused to accept that treaty that was being offered to them, that if you stop developing these nuclear weapons, we will provide you with a lot of technology that will help you. And when that was refused, that offer was refused by the United States government and military, then another group of extraterrestrials approached them and said, you don't have to stop developing your nuclear weapons, just do this and this and this for us. And basically they wanted to be able to abduct animals as well as human beings and use them for their own purposes, which was partly scientific research, but also evidently some sort of genetic manipulation and hybridization program. So the Americans unfortunately agreed with that, and that has been going on now. Unfortunately, both sides did not keep the agreement. That is, those evil extraterrestrials promised that they would keep a complete record and inform the American government of every person and every animal that they took and what they did with them, and that they would be very limited in number, but they didn't follow that promise. They broke the treaty. So it was very, very sad, but that was a decision that was made to develop nuclear weapons, which was we don't still understand how bad nuclear weapons are and what a horrible effect they have. Of course, we know a lot about how bad they are, but we really don't know entirely. It's much worse than we even are aware. And of course, there are other weapons which have now been developed using lasers and using other advanced technologies which are mostly still secret. Directed energy weapons, which have been developed and are being used. Other weapons, electromagnetic pulse weapons, which can cause great damage and disruption of especially computers and that sort of technology. So those other weapons are in some ways even more destructive than nuclear bombs, but they seem to not have all of those side effects or other horrible results that nuclear weapons have. So you may be right that the nuclear weapons is the worst invention human beings have made. Okay, Safdar Ayaz says, Mere dard dil ki dawa gaus azam, kare kaun tere siwa, ya gaus azam, ya gaus al madad, ya gaus al madad. Yes, so we will all pray, whether we pray to Gaus Azam or we pray to whoever, we pray for help and for peace, and we make every effort ourselves to work in that direction also. All right, Rafia Latif says, bad things don't spread because of bad people, but because of the fact that the good people stay quiet and don't play a role in spreading goodness. Thank you very much. Very good point, yes. So it's said that's all that's needed for bad people to succeed is for good people to stay quiet. So we must become active, fearless, promote this understanding that humanity, along with allies from other species also, extraterrestrials, together we can prevent the Armageddon. We can prevent the Third World War. And we should not be quiet. We should not be fearful. We should be happy. And I'm going to talk more in this course, as I've already been talking for the last couple of weeks, about how the end of the evil force in the world, which was trying to create World War III, that end is now not only in sight, but it's already started happening. Just the last few weeks, really, it's become, what shall I say, out in the open, even though the mass media is not covering it, but it's happening, and you can find it if you do a search on the internet, that the members of the cabal, or the so-called Illuminati as they call themselves, the deep state is another term that's being used now for the secret government. Those people are being captured, arrested, and imprisoned, and they will be tried and punished. So that's just happening right now. It's just the last couple of weeks this has really started happening. It's being planned for many, many years by the good people, and now it's actually happening. So yes, we should be very, very happy and active and not be quiet and afraid, and promote this wonderful spiritual war. It's a spiritual war in which the forces of goodness are defeating the forces of evil, and no need for a big international war or nuclear conflict. All right, Safdar Ayaz says, I really appreciate you, brother, for supporting Islam. Yes, I support all religions. Every religion has its good side and its bad side. There are evil people who have tried to take over, tried to control, tried to manipulate every religion, and there are good people in every religion. So I support the good people in every religion, and I condemn the evil people in every religion as much as I can understand what they're doing. I try to expose it, and yes, I am happy to support Islam and to support every religion, the good people in every religion. Misbah Hussain says, great comprehensive reply you have given. Thank you, sir. Allah bless you with good health. Thank you very much. Miriam Bande, sir, what can we do in this time of war and chaos? Well, the first thing we can always do, and everyone can do at every moment, is pray, meditate, and we can study and learn and talk, discuss. So, but we can be thankful that the war and chaos that the evil forces are trying to spread, they are spreading in the world, causing tremendous suffering, that we can oppose. And we have many allies who are helping us. So we should be very aggressive in promoting peace. We should be very aggressive in studying and understanding what is really happening in the world and sharing that information with others. So this is a time of war and chaos, but it won't become a nuclear war, God willing. All right, Rahil Aslam Chowdhury says, life is the beginning of death and death is the beginning of life. Yes, that's true. And in fact, that was one of the arguments that in this meeting that I was discussing, or at the beginning of this class, it was that sort of argument that some of the people were making, that this international conflict and all the death that would occur, that would be the beginning of a new life of humanity, a time of peace. But even though that's usually the case, you might say, or that's what people were expecting to happen, it won't happen. At least that's what I've been informed. Hayadar says, what do you think about concept of Malhama, big war, mentioned in Hadith? Yes, that big war, that is exactly what is called Armageddon in the Bible. And in every religious tradition, in the Hindu tradition, there is like the name Kurukshetra. And there was a great Kurukshetra thousands of years ago. The battlefield is still there in India. And they say that there will be another Kurukshetra, another great war. So this tradition, whether it's called Malhama or Armageddon or Kurukshetra, whatever, that war is what I'm talking about. It's the same war which is mentioned, prophesied, you may say, in every tradition, or many, many traditions anyway. So I believe that it will not happen. Asad Asif, sir, according to Hadith, our holy prophet, Hazrat Muhammad, peace be upon him, said there will be a war and the destruction of he describes by the example that is at that time a bird which is very tidy and never sits on dirty things or place, will fly in search of a clean place, but due to continuous flying in search of tidy place, will fell tired on dead bodies, but will not find his place to rest. Yes, as I've been saying previously also and throughout this class today, this idea is present very, very widely. Practically every, or certainly most, traditions have the same idea that there will be such a horrible conflict that the whole earth will be engulfed in a conflict in which there will be, as you've said here, a dirty place everywhere, dirty things. Yes, there will be no, in the Christian tradition, there is the phrase, no hiding place down here. There's a song. No hiding place. There will be no place to hide. You won't be able to hide in a mountain. You won't be able to hide in the bottom of the ocean. You won't be able to hide up in the sky. There will be no place to hide. There will be no place for the bird to land and rest. That's a clean and tidy place. The whole earth will be disrupted and disturbed, and there will be no safe place or tidy place. So that tradition is there everywhere. But what I'm saying is, I know it's quite a bold statement, but on the basis of that experience I had in 1998, I'm convinced that now that long prophesied war, that long expected period of tremendous suffering and conflict has been not avoided completely, but it has been reduced completely. The suffering that we see in the world right now, this is the Third World War, reduced from a nuclear conflict to this suffering we see, which is tremendous, it is huge, it is horrible, but it's much less than it would have been had this destiny of the world not been changed. We could not change it, but the Almighty has that power. The all-powerful can change anything, can do anything. So, as I understand, that decision has been made by Allah or by God, by the Almighty, to save humanity from that Third World War that was long expected and prophesied. All right. Hayadar says, before Isa alayhi salam and emergence of Gog and Magog, yes. Again, this Gog and Magog, or Yajuj and Majuj, as they're called in Arabic, are prophesied. Now, what is Gog and Magog? What is, actually in Arabic there is no G sound, so it's Gog would be pronounced Jog. So I think that Yajuj and Majuj are really Yagug and Magug. So, and Gog is not Gog, it's Goog. And I believe, this is just my idea, I may be wrong, but I believe that Google may be that reality which was prophesied as Gog and Magog, or Google may be part of that. It's described as in a very strange way. Some people think it was a race of people. At one time when I was a child, I remember anti-communist people were always saying Gog and Magog is Russia and China. They're the evil forces that will conflict with the good people in the final war. I don't think that's at all true. In fact, if anything, Russia and China are going to be good in this. We're seeing right now how good Russia has become, how Putin, President Putin, is fighting for the truth and goodness and is exposing the evil acts of the satanic people, especially through the CIA. But now the time has come when the truth is coming out, and the good people in the world are even taking over the CIA. They're taking over the U.S. military. So Gog and Magog, I don't think are people, but I think it may be that, what should we say, the artificial intelligence behind Google. All right, that's just my speculation, but that's my understanding of Gog and Magog. Muhammad Ghaznafar Abbasi says, "I against war, there must be peace all over the world, and everyone should respect each other, irrespective to color, language, and boundaries. All of us must play a vital role to prevent war and terror." Yes, so here we see more proof that the Pakistani people are not terrorists. They're against terrorism. They're in favor of peace. So thank you very much. This is definitely true. I've seen it myself. So many, especially young people in Pakistan, they are now very, very eager and anxious to promote peace and love between people who formerly would have only been eager to fight and have a war. But it's changing. People in Pakistan are peaceful and they want peace. So thank you for substantiating my claim. So Gek Agung, hey, I am Gek Agung from Indonesia, Bali. Oh, very nice to have you join us. Lynn Pereira says, "Now is the judgment of this world. Now shall the prince of this world be cast out." I believe that is a quote from the Bible. Lynn Pereira is my pastor, pastor of one of the churches that I attend here in Esparto. So he is definitely very, very well educated and experienced in the Bible. So that now, I don't know if you're indicating this, that's what I understand. Now means now, this time period right now. That the prince of this world, which is called Dajjal in Arabic, or the Antichrist, he will be cast out, or he is being cast out. The CEO of the Alphabet company, which is behind Google, he just resigned. Why? They're being exposed. They're being forced to resign. He didn't want to do it, but they're being caught in their evil actions. So this is happening right now. So I don't know, Reverend Pereira, if you meant now to mean right now, but that's what I mean. That's how I take it. Thank you very much. Lynn Pereira goes on, "The judgment, thank God, was mercy. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. Now we see mercy is the way for world peace." Yes. So this is a quote also from the Bible. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. This is the old idea people had, that by sacrifice God is satisfied and God will forgive us our sins if we offer some sacrifice. But what the Bible says, really, God does not want sacrifice. He wants mercy. He wants us to be merciful because He is merciful. The Rahman Rahim. God is the most merciful. Yes, that is definitely the way to world peace. Mercy and forgiveness. We should forgive each other. We've all done horrible things. We've all made mistakes, so we should be merciful. We should forgive others, and we should be merciful and forgive ourselves also for the mistakes that we've made. And we should, in the Christian religion, we daily pray, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who have trespassed against us. We pray to God to please forgive us as we forgive others. So if we want God to forgive us, we should forgive others. So that forgiveness and mercy is one of the most fundamental requirements for our own peace of mind, and for peace with neighbors and peace in the world. All right, mercy and peace. Nur Muhammad Katak says, nice to listen to you, dear sir. Nur Muhammad Katak, PhD scholar, Northern University, Nowshera, KPK, the home of hospitality. Yes, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa is the northwestern part of Pakistan, not the far north, but the northwestern, used to be called Northwest Province, but now called KPK, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and it is the home of hospitality. In fact, I was there about 2.5 years ago now, and I made a video talking about how hospitable the people of KPK, the Pakhtun people, are. So, Rahim Aslam Chowdhury, what is your opinion about spiritual metaphysical galaxies? Yes, in fact, if you were attending my course last semester, from September through December, I taught a course on extraterrestrial spirituality, and I discussed also this exact point, that there are many, many millions of spiritual galaxies, you can call them. I've seen them myself, believe it or not. They are unlimited, and there are an unlimited number of them, and they are glowing, shining, but they are eternal. They never began, and they will never end. That is another spiritual world, and there are many spiritual or metaphysical galaxies there, just like there are millions and billions of galaxies here in our physical universe. There are also unlimited numbers, inconceivable to us, how many spiritual galaxies or spiritual universes there are. All right, M. Raza, Muhammad Raza, Sunshine. Richness is not about having a lot of wealth, but richness is having wealth of the heart. And what is wealth of the heart? It is contentment, which comes only from the remembrance of Allah. As Allah said, it is only with the remembrance of Allah that hearts find rest. Good morning, all have a wonderful day. Yes, so this is morning in Pakistan now, evening here in California. But yes, thank you very, very much. That is what I've always emphasized also, that the best prayer for peace is simply remembering the name of God, reciting the name of God, chanting the name of God, of any religion, of any language. We can call on the names of God, and we will find contentment, no doubt, peace within our hearts, and world peace. That is the strongest weapon for peace, in my opinion, is zikr, or calling on the name of God. Acha, Khaista Muhammad says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuhu. Yes, peace be with you, and the mercy and blessings of God. So this is real Islam, peace. Thank you very much. Muhammad Raza Sunshine goes on. Always be ready to help others, expecting nothing in return. Do it only to earn the pleasure of your Lord. Thank you very much. See, I'm getting more and more confirmation of what I'm saying. This is Pakistan. People helping others, always ready to help others, and expecting nothing in return. Just only for earning the pleasure of your Lord. Simply to please God, we serve and help other people. Thank you very much. This is Pakistan. All right, I think we will end now. We've had a very, very wonderful time. Thank you for all your very good questions. And we will continue with this fascinating discussion 2 days from now, that is Wednesday evening here in California at 6 p.m. And 7 a.m. Thursday morning in Pakistan. Thank you all very, very much. Peace be with you. May God protect us all.